Kicking a soccer ball is classified as an open kinetic chain movement because the leg and foot move freely and are not fixed to a surface. Because kicking uses a series of different motions rather than a single motion all at once, kicking is considered a sequential movement. There are 6 movement phases to kicking, which are the approach, support leg, swing limb, foot contact, and follow through. In the approach, the kicker begins a running start toward the ball for momentum. The joints and muscles involved in this phase include the femur and pelvis, which form a ball and socket joint that extend the hip, flexing the gluteal muscles, the femur and tibia, which form a hinge joint flexing the knee, as well as the hamstring muscles such as the biceps femoris, semimembranosus, and semitendinosus. Lastly, the ankle joint made up of the tibia and calcaneus, which form a hinge synovial joint, putting the ankle in plantar flexion while flexing the gastrocnemius muscle. The support leg is used for stabilization and balance for the swinging limb. The joints and muscles involved in this phase are the ball and socket joint of the flexed hip with flexed quadricep muscles such as the rectus femoris, vastus medialis, and vastus lateralis. Flexion of the gluteal muscles as well as the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and long head of the biceps femoris that make up the hamstring muscles. The knee is slightly flexed. The ankle is still in plantar flexion with flexion of the gastrocnemius. The swinging limb is extended in a backward position at the hip, flexing the gluteal and hamstring muscles while extending the quadricep muscles. The hinge knee joint is in full flexion, extending the anterior tibialis muscle, and the hinge ankle synovial joint remains in plantar flexion with gastrocnemius flexion. The hip ball and socket joint is flexed in a forward position, extending the gluteal muscles but flexing both quadriceps and hamstring muscles. Knee hinge joint is extended, but the gastrocnemius muscle is still flexed. The ankle hinge synovial joint is still in plantar flexion. When the foot makes contact with the ball, the hip is in flexion at the ball and socket joint. The quadricep and hamstring muscles are fully flexed. The knee hinge joint at the femur and tibia are in extension. The toes are pointed toward the ground, putting the ankle hinge synovial joint and foot in plantar flexion, still flexing the gastrocnemius and extending the anterior tibialis. In the follow-through phase, the hip is flexed at the ball and socket joint, as well as flexion of the rectus femoris, vastus medialis, and vastus lateralis that make up the quadriceps muscles, extending the gluteal muscles and the hinge knee joint and the hamstring muscles made up of the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and biceps femoris. The ankle remains at a constant plantar flexion with flexion of the gastrocnemius. Here are all of the movement phases put together.